The house of quiet betrayal. I was in the study when she walked in. The house smelled of polished oak and cold leather, the kind of smell that felt permanent. She stood in the doorway, thin silhouette framed by the harsh hallway light. "I'm engaged to someone else," she said. The words landed like a hammer striking glass. "We've been seeing each other for months," she continued. Her voice had no tremor, no shame, just that quiet certainty of entitlement. I did not flinch, I did not speak. Instead, I listened to the tick of the grandfather clock behind me, each swing of the pendulum echoing in my chest. I watched the way her eyes refused to meet mine, the subtle way her fingers twitched at her side. She thought this was courage. She called it honesty. I said, quietly, almost mechanically, "Congratulations to you both." No inflection, no anger. She blinked, expecting a reaction I would never give. Then the doorbell rang. I didn't move. By evening, the police were escorting her out. Calm, precise, no argument, no shouting, no theatrics. She left quietly, dragging her dignity behind her like a suitcase she no longer owned. I changed the locks, every code, every pin, every digital access point she had ever touched. The house became mine again. The air tasted clean. And then he came. Her fiancé, demanding, aggressive, confident, certain she had rights here, certain I would falter. I let him rage at an empty house. I stared at her coffee mug later that night, the one she always left on my desk, even after she said she loved someone else. How long had this been going on? Months, she said. Months, she lied. I remembered the subtle signs, now screaming in hindsight. The texts she hid, the perfume that didn't belong to me, the subtle late-night excuses. Each memory felt like a fissure forming in my chest. I had noticed them. I had dismissed them. I had chosen trust over suspicion. She had chosen betrayal. I sat in the study, scanning her social media, her laugh frozen in videos I had once smiled at. Now, the smiles looked hollow. Her duplicity wasn't just emotional, it was strategic. I realized that. She had calculated her deceit. Step by step, she built a second life inside my life, careful to leave traces minimal enough to escape suspicion. I felt a strange, cold thrill at the clarity of my own awakening. Rage didn't rise, it simmered, controlled, patient. I let it build. I didn't call her. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I watched. I started quietly. I had the resources, the intellect, the subtlety. My law firm had access to things most people only see in fiction, and I used them. I pulled her phone records, every number she had called, every time she had been online. I followed her digital shadow. I traced the financial footprints. I mapped the gaps in her narrative, the thin spots in her story where the truth peeked through like a broken window. I hired a private investigator, anonymous, professional. He reported every step she took, every meeting, every clandestine movement. I observed her patterns, not as a husband, not as a man scorned, but as a strategist. Each revelation was data, each lie a variable in a calculation I controlled entirely. I did not show panic. I did not lose composure. Meetings continued. I smiled at associates. I sipped my scotch with that practiced detachment people mistake for serenity. Inside, my mind churned. Each memory of her affection felt tainted. Each whispered endearment became a weapon I would later wield. And then I discovered the thing she never expected me to, the full extent of her duplicity. She had not only been seeing him, she had been building a future with him, in my house, in my life, while pretending loyalty. And the timeline, every careful, deliberate moment, was designed to maximize the shock, to test the boundaries of my tolerance. I smiled. The evidence arrived on my desk one gray morning, a report, concise, factual, irrefutable. DNA tests, location tracking, financial transfers, video confirmation of meetings. I read it all once, twice. The truth was cold and absolute. She was not just unfaithful, she had manipulated everything around her to feel untouchable. Every story she told me, every excuse, every touch, every confession, I could now match it with incontrovertible proof of her lies. She returned that evening, unaware of what awaited. I handed her the folder. She opened it, expecting perhaps confusion, disbelief, protest. I watched the moment comprehension hit her eyes, the slight tremble in her fingers, the way her mouth moved, trying to form words that had already been written in black and white. I said nothing. She realized, in that suspended breath, that everything had been known. From the first text she tried to hide to the first smile at another man, every step had been observed, recorded, catalogued. She looked at me, searching for anger. There was none. Only clarity. Only inevitability. The next evening her fiancé arrived, swagger in place, entitled to a confrontation. I let him in. He demanded she be allowed back. He threatened legal action. He thought me a fool, a man softened by betrayal. I handed him the same folder. He read it. The color drained from his face. The confidence faltered. The air shifted. "You knew?" he asked, voice cracking, disbelief layered with rage. I didn't answer. I stepped aside, letting the silence do the work. He flipped through the evidence, the documents, the reports. He read about every lie, every hidden move, every act of manipulation. I watched them both unravel in real time. No shouting, no melodrama, just the sharp sting of truth applied like a scalpel. And then I escorted them both out. The house was mine again, not just physically, emotionally, strategically. I left the door locked, the codes changed. No further access, no chance for repentance, no return. I had regained control, not through passion, not through wrath, but through patience, observation, and precise execution. I sat in my study the next morning, sun glinting off the windows. Quiet. Still. No relief, no triumph, no satisfaction. Just the emptiness of truth made absolute. I poured a glass of whiskey, sipped, and felt the residue of betrayal linger, not as pain, but as awareness. The love I had given was gone. The illusions shattered. The people who thought they could manipulate me were gone. I would not call them. I would not speak of them. They existed only in evidence, a cautionary tale of hubris and deceit. The house was quiet. My life was clean. I closed the folder one last time and walked away. Calm, collected, entirely unbroken. I was free. Not healed, not whole, not soft, just untouchable. And that, in its own brutal clarity, was enough.